It was said that Rana and Raga never forgave their father for ordering the assassination of their husbands. They held their brother Uday most responsible for their husband's betrayal and deaths.
The sisters blamed Uday. They knew that Uday had conveyed these offers of personal guarantees, and they knew that he had stayed to watch their husbands being murdered.
And family members weren't the only ones who despised Uday. A number of assassination attempts had been made on Saddam's eldest son, but there was one in December of 1996 which would scar him for life. One evening that winter, a group of conspirators knew Uday would be driving to a party in the fashionable Mansour district.
Along comes Uday in his Mercedes, and Uday usually drove himself, so they opened fire on the lead car, on the driver, and sort of shred the driver. Then they noticed that it's not Uday. So one of them ran round to the other side of the car, and there was Uday trying to get under the dashboard. So he fired, I mean, the figure was 8 bullets. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but it's, you know, the last few bullets into Uday, actually into his backside.
Uday was rushed to the hospital where he spent months recovering. The incident left him physically impaired.
He ended up with several bullets in his body, one of which was supposedly lodged near his spine and could not be removed. The result was that he was paralyzed or semi-paralyzed from the waist down.
Uday's behavior had caught up with him. As he lay recuperating, Saddam took advantage of his son's vulnerable state in front of the whole family.
Saddam reads him the riot act. Uday, he said, Uday, you know, like you can really sort of see it, you know, poor Saddam sort of shrugging his terrible elder son. He says, what are you? Are you a businessman? Are you a playboy? I mean, he says, you've done incredible harm to the country. You know, I don't know what to make of you. You've just, basically he's telling him he's been a disaster.
He was quite clearly now totally out of the running as far as the succession was concerned.
Being crippled and cast aside by his father only made Uday more cruel. Rumors that his injuries had left him impotent set him off on a perverse spree to prove otherwise.
He was able to have sex again, but in fact he found it much more difficult, and he seems to have developed an obsession with very young girls, with virgins. He had an arrangement with principals of high schools from the poor areas of Baghdad to send girls as young as 12 or 13 to him, which was really pretty grotesque.
The suffering caused by the Hussein family seemed to have no end. Iraqi citizens now also endured economic consequences of heavy UN sanctions caused by Saddam's failure to give up his weapons of mass destruction.
Hospitals were unable to import medicines that they needed, equipment that they needed. People were dying even of starvation.
But Saddam was obstinate. He awarded Qusay the task of thwarting UN inspectors. This cat-and-mouse game went on for years, until George W. Bush told Saddam and his sons they had 48 hours to leave Iraq or he would declare war. Saddam immediately sent Qusay to the Central Bank of Iraq to withdraw $1 billion in foreign currency, 3 tractor-trailer loads of cash. It was one of the biggest bank heists in history. Never mind his country, his family would be able to maintain its extravagant lifestyle.
I think for the people of Iraq, Qusay's plundering the central bank would have been perceived as the most ordinary of events that you might imagine. The Saddam family had long treated the treasure of Iraq as their own.
Saddam, meanwhile, arranged for his daughters and all of his grandchildren to leave for a safe house outside the city. The men in the family stayed behind to face the now inevitable war. It began on March 19, 2003, with a bombing raid on a bunker where the U.S. believes Saddam and his 2 sons were hiding.
The U.S., named Saddam's son, Uday and Qusay, as, high on the target list because they were seen, quite rightly, as a sort of, after Saddam himself, the major pillars of the regime.
Father and sons survived the 6-week war and went into hiding. For 2 months, the sons eluded coalition forces. Then, on July 21st, in exchange for a $30 million reward, an Iraqi man tipped off the authorities to the location of Uday and Qusay.
Someone came to the Americans initially and said that Saddam's 2 sons were staying in this particular house in Mosul.
The next day, troops surrounded the villa, but the sons refused to surrender. The violent shootout lasted 3 hours. In the end, Uday, Qusay, and Qusay's teenage son, Mustafa, were killed. Saddam released an audio tape to an Arab television station mourning the death of his sons and vowing to take revenge. Coalition forces continued to search for other members of the first family. Soon, Saddam's 2 half-brothers and his cousin, the notorious Chemical Ali, were captured. The only family members known to have made it to safety were Saddam's 2 older daughters and their children. They fled to Jordan, where they were given asylum.
By reaching here to Jordan, I hope all the suffers end and we can start a new life peacefully with our kids, with each other.
But for them it was painful to think about the family they left behind.
It was horrible. Everybody hugging each other, kissing each other, crying, the kids, because they used to be one family.
We left the loved ones, my mother, my sister, even my sister-in-law, Qusay's wife. They're all close to us.
They're concerned about the well-being of their mother, about their 3rd sister, and about their sister-in-law, the wife of Qusay, and that perhaps it was a way to signal to those women, wherever they may be, hey, it's safe to come out now. You know, we're here, we're safe, we're going to be all right. You can come out of the woodwork as well.
For 9 months after the war, Saddam remained in hiding in safe houses near his birthplace, protected by his Klansmen. He did, however, release a series of audio tapes, calls to action against the foreign invaders of Iraq. This suggests he still believed he had loyal followers, and he still held out hope for a return to power. But on December 13, 2003, U.S. troops found him at the bottom of a dirt hole. Although he had a gun, he gave up without a fight.
He said that I'm Saddam Hussein, I am the president of Iraq, and I'm willing to negotiate.
But in reality, he was no longer president or head of the first family of Iraq. He was now a prisoner awaiting trial for the many crimes he had committed during his bloody reign of terror. His dreams of dynasty were over, and with them, the nightmare of his nation.